Hi there. It's September the 10th, and we're continuing our journey through Paul's second letter to the Corinthians. We're in chapter 11, and we're reading from verses 16 to verse 33. So Paul is speaking out against these detractors, these super apostles who he's so worried about, who are deceiving the Corinthians. And he continues in the form of boasting. He uses this word boasting because he's trying to point out what it is they're doing. There's a false self-promotion that's going on. And so Paul kind of promotes himself, but in a very strange way. He says, I don't like their boasting, but I'm going to boast anyway as well of what God's been doing in me, even though I don't really approve of boasting. So he says, here's my boast. He says, actually, if they're Jews, so am I. If they're sons of Abraham, so am I. And then he says, if they're serving Christ, I am more. But the way he demonstrates his service to Jesus is not in, I have these sermons, I have this clever theory, this clever philosophy, this clever theology. What Paul does is he points to his sufferings and the persecutions he's undergone for Jesus. And it's an incredible list. Stonings, beatings, shipwreck, adrift on the sea for a day and a night. He's gone through the most amazing stretchings, and he ends the chapter here with saying that referring back to when he was in Damascus, the famous story when he was first a believer, one of the first things that happened to him was that he had to be lowered in a basket out of the window, out over the town wall to be able to escape. And then Paul also says, and besides all this suffering, he says, I have the care of the churches, the care of the assemblies of God that I am carrying in my heart. Paul is not just saying all this because he's trying to show the impressive pedigree that he has of his suffering, but he's saying it's because he carries this weight of concern for all of the churches. He is concerned for those who are suffering. He's concerned for those who are being led astray. But Paul says right at the end as well, he says, in fact, this is what I want to do. I want to boast in my weakness. He says, and obviously elsewhere Paul says, when I'm weak, then I'm strong. Paul is not boasting about his own human resources. He's not boasting about his own cleverness or intelligence. He says, actually, I want to boast in my weakness, that when I've been weak, God's strength has come through for me. And so Paul very graphically, in this description of this whole catalogue of suffering he's been through, presents the reliance that he has had upon God and upon Jesus to carry him through. When we face tough things, when we face difficulties, when we face persecution, when we face trouble, when we face opposition, we can know that in those weaknesses, in those moments of difficulty, God has the opportunity to make clear his strength and to come through and carry us. Let's continue to rely upon his strength, not our own, in order to see us through this storm, these storms that we're in. Have a very good September 10th.